Good morning, everyone. I'm Arju Sharma, and we are from BVAL 5 Section B. And our company is Everything Agile Consultancy, and we are here uh, uh, to give the solutions to provide the solution to Cafe Espresso. And we are come up with three parts of 27 days. Introducing to our team, Ankit Ratna Tuladar is a personal administration expert. Ankur Nepalne is director of research, and I am the head of training division. And Samdam Chapala is recruitment specialist, and Sushin Joshi is risk management and the workforce planning and financial. Our commitment is to provide the highest level of service possible to HRM, and with effective HR solutions backed by academic theories and scientific theories, and equipping our client with effective approaches and tools. And we are committed to in design a meaningful workplace for both employee and the managers. We realize this is we collect the different research from different fields, which helps us to stay at the cutting edge of all things HR. And HR pundits with decades of veteran of experience use empirical database stocked with countless survey from past client, and holistic mindset allows for the delivery of a comprehensive solutions and our past client.
We had our previous experience working with a few of our clients, that is Luna Hotel, Lychee Engineering, with Coffee, and Mercury Hotel. With our combined effort, we were able to solve the problem and get success in that. Firstly, let me start with Luna Hotel. Luna Hotel had the issue of HR issues, and it was on the verge of extinction. So for that, we came up with the solution of a complete improvement of non-managerial staffs as the hotel expands its operations. And next thing we did was we offered this job trainings and as well as induction trainings. Next thing was we provided employees with these feedback forms so that we can know their point of view, and we can take into the considerations of the things needed to be changed and work accordingly. Next thing is Lincoln Engineering. It was the first time we dealing with issues like this. They were having the communication gaps between the managers and technical staffs. There were miscommunication between each department. So for this, we conducted seminars, workshops, and activities so that it helps in team building. And the main aim was to foster the connection between the departments, managers, and the technical staffs. The next thing we also did was we practiced master hierarchy of theory so that each employees were motivated to meet self-actualization and social needs. Next thing we did, we also conducted a conference on workforce management, where Hersper's two-factor theory of job satisfaction and dissatisfaction was practiced.
So the tender we are applying for is Cafe Espresso. So Cafe Espresso, talking about Cafe Espresso, it was once the prime of coffee industry in UK, and it wanted to spread this premium coffee brand in the UK. And what they have is 550 stores across the country, and they are employing over 3,800 laborers in their whole company. So they are committed to providing premium coffee experience in the country. So Cafe Espresso has its shares of problems, so we'll go through some of the key problems that we are trying to eliminate. And they are high labor turnover, ineffective recruitment strategy, poor staff performance, and lack of reward and recognition. Through our research, we have found that these are the main problems that are bringing Cafe Espresso down in the market today. Talking about high labor turnover, they are facing a huge problem in this high labor turnover because employees are not motivated, they are not performing up to the mark, and this is in turn reducing their business and the market share that they once had. And ineffective recruitment strategy means they have not brought in the proper staff which can work properly and provide good results, which in turn also relates to lack of reward, because when employees are not motivated to work, they tend to slack off and they do not work as dedicated as they would if they were rewarded with something at the end of the month based on their performance. So we are here to discuss further on this, so presenting the rest.
So okay, we could go backward. So we've highlighted this sort of visualization is that there are a lot of problems in Cafe Espresso, but the case study that the owner did only highlights a few. So what we did is when we studied Cafe Espresso, one more. So we realized that the key underlying problems can be solved into three sectors. So Zeppelin has provided these three sectors that we'll focus on. So the first one is to completely overhaul your recruitment and selection strategy. Second one is to sort of tweak your performance review and appraisal technique, the approach you take to this. The third one is, of course, introducing retention incentives. It's to completely introduce turnover reduction policy. Okay, so recruitment and selection. So this we found a study in which the author mentions that there are a bunch of resources in the company, but the way to really value a resource as a comparative advantage, to see if it's a sustainable comparative advantage, is that it must have these attributes of being rare, inevitable, and non-substitutable. And the way to bring about this is to first, we have this another study which mentions how, it mentions how general cognitive ability, general mental ability is the key performing, key indicator of performance in jobs, especially for frontline managers. So not managers, frontline employees. So these are the people who are in contact with their customers, so the baristas. So the best way to get to them is to create a formalized hiring process. So Cafe Espresso usually hires somewhere in the back room within the 10-15 minutes break that they have, the line managers. So we decided this is not really a good strategy for this. Use a formal location, set aside a proper date and time, and better still, don't ask past questions. Ask what-if questions, because the resource pool that you're drawing from is usually entry level. So it's college graduates, high school graduates, they're young people. So they don't have past experience, and that's a very unreliable indicator. So use what-if questions. Okay, next. So this is one of the key innovations in the current market in human resource right now, is using psychometric testing to find if you have the correct candidate. So the big five personality, especially the factor of extraversion, it's been positively linked with better job performances. And this new one, it's been around for a while, but most people don't know about this. It's the Berkman Career Aptitude Test, and this is very key because it takes 10 different scales and it compares your employee to whether they fit that job. So it's a better tool to get the right job for the right employee. Okay, now performance review and effective appraisals. So labor management participation is what creates a better working environment. It's and the role of managers here is that you hired a good candidate, but you're not quite sure if they're performing up to par. So this is where the manager comes in. This is like the manager's hands-on approach. So we're going to teach managers how to enhance job significance, how to redesign job with increased accountability to peers. So this makes employees feel inclusive and they work harder. And the main one is how to make a career path or a personal development plan. So a personal development plan has its individualized goals that the HR manager or the line manager gives to his staff. And the thing is, these goals are complementary, they're congruent with the company's overall goals. So when you give individualized goals, the employee feels connected to the company and then works harder, and in doing so completes his own goals and then helps company further their goals. Okay, now this, like I mentioned, is the key problem. So we found numerous studies that show that this whole industry is plagued with turnover issues. So the main reason is that managers themselves don't take the business seriously, and the industry has portrayed this sort of image that there's not adequate benefits, there's no reasonable training and competitive wages. So prospective employees are rather turned to other industries. They go, okay, I'll take a job here and then I'll work for a while, and then they don't want to make a career out of this. So to address this, we have come up with many solutions, which we can't really. It's not in the scope of this presentation. So that's our crux of our proposal. That's where it is. And so we'll explain slightly further, just to give you a bit detail.
I'll be providing the overview of what we intend to do in our plan and how we will deliver our MTs. Furthermore, I'll be also discussing about the providing a glance at the cost associated. Firstly, the recruitment and selection phase. In this session, we'll organize a 7-day workshop in which we are going to consolidate different workshop on training line managers and how they will hire. Furthermore, we are also going to provide a framework on how to use the online software and registration process, which is further provided in detail in the proposal handout. In this session, we will make use of different websites such as LinkedIn profile, registration systems, filtering of the candidate pools. Furthermore, we'll also be providing a framework on we'll be providing the framework on how to hire and the proper place for interviewing. In the second and third phase, we'll look at the performance review, appraisal, staff, and retention for to lower the labor turnover as well. In this session, it's going to be a 17-day plan, which is further divided into details in the proposal handout. In this, we are going to formulate a team work system as previously conducted in Blitz Engineering. In this, we'll propose cross-functional teams and implement different icebreakers and teamwork strategies while conducted at the meetings. And further, the costs are divided according to the intensive work and the labors, our team effort required at a reasonable price of 3,600, 2,300, and 3,900. Overall, a total of 9,800. And moving over to the Gantt chart, this helps us to illustrate the start and finish time of our plan. As we have provided 2 gap days in 14 and 15, as we believe the employees will require a rest and a gap to catch up with the intensive phase we have proposed at the phase 3. And further, we have also separated a lead time on the 18th if we are unable to carry out the activities as we planned. Furthermore, the cost for we have also set a cost for follow-up sessions, but we have not presented as we intend to deliver our plan and accordingly set which type of cost we intend to deliver, as it's going to be a 6-month session or a 1-year session accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, so we're open to questions, but I just want to leave it